goblins, and welcome to my art class. You can see here, first I start sketching out my picture with a white colored pencil. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to paint white on all of the areas that have a lighter color. I really want that color to be bright and shine through the black material. So I put a base layer of white paint down first. So as you can see, I'm going to paint the moon and the windows of my haunted house and my little ghost trick-or-treater with the white paint first. I'm also going to put the white on places that are going to need the highlight. So where you see the moon kind of shine on the different areas of the house, I'm going to want to paint white because these are the lightest areas. Any place that's going to need a shadow is not going to need that white paint as a base because it does not need to be bright. So here I'm doing the white base on the banner that's on the front as well, making sure it's a nice solid white color. Next, we're working on the pink moon and pink windows. We really want this to be nice and bright on top of the white. And when we're choosing our color scheme here, I really wanted to go with some fun colors for Halloween. Now, if you look at a color wheel, pink is a version of red and teal is a version of green, which means pink and teal are complementary colors. Now, complementary colors are going to make the biggest difference when it comes to your picture. They're going to attract the eye the most. Other colors that we're going to use in this painting are blue and orange, which are also complementary colors. Now here you can see I'm using a brighter green in the highlighted areas of the house. So that way where you would see the moon shining on the house is a brighter green, and then it fades to the shadow areas, which is a darker blue with a little touch of purple there as well. So right now we're working on the roof with the shading and the highlighting and the two parts of the house on the side. Now as the house goes up towards the roof, it is going to get a shadow because that roof is going to cast a shadow onto the wall. And then as the roof starts, it's going to be a lighter color towards where the moon is and gets darker as it goes down. And now here we're working on the front of the house. So that's going to be nice and bright because that is the color that is closest to us. It's going to be the lightest color. If when you're doing a picture, when it comes to the atmosphere, anything that's the closest to you is going to be the brightest, and what's the farthest away is going to be the darkest. So working on the banner in the front here, I'm adding some more white as a highlight. This middle of the banner is going to be the brightest, so it has the most white because it's going to be the closest to us. To give that 3D effect and make the banner look like it's kind of wrapping around this haunted house, it's going to be darker on the sides. So we're going to keep that the darker browns, darker oranges, and we're not going to use the white base. And now, as you can see, you kind of get that wrap around effect. And the two sides of the banner are coming back towards you. So those are going to be a brighter orange again. Make sure you get some really good shadows. An important feature of your picture is contrast. So contrast is your light lights and your dark darks. So now I went and got some new paint. I got a brighter pink. I really wanted this pink to pop. So we got a bright neon pink, and I also got a bright neon green. I really want those highlights to show. So I'm just going back over the highlights with the bright neon green. A little touch of detail on the sides of the house to kind of give a almost wood slat effect with that bright green, and little details on the roof, little scalloping with the bright green and some more white in there, just to give the house some more interest, some more interesting details and features. And for the little trick-or-treaters down in the front, added a little bit more of that bright neon green to the witch's hair, so her hair would pop out a little more as well. And we got a little bit of a white base for our little devil trick-or-treater, so that his bright red costume will pop and be as bright as possible. So we're just going to do a base of his silhouette or shape, and we're going to add some darker browns and blacks to create the shadows of his costume to give him that 3D effect. Again, you need your contrast, so the areas that are farther away have the shadows, and the areas that are bright are closer, or they're highlighted by the light of the moon. So now you can see him a little more detail. You can see how he has a cloak on his head with his horns, and now we're working on the little highlights of the bat and the witch and the ghost, adding some more light color here, getting those lights and darks to really pop. A little more detail on the top there. Working on fabric is not the same as working on a canvas. It's a little tricky. And going in with a smaller detail brush to get those details, going back over the lines that I've already made just to make things a little bit more brighter. And these are just your basic acrylic paints and a basic set of paint brushes that I bought at your local Walmart store or Target. You don't have to spend a lot of money on brushes until you really want to. So we have our ghost trick-or-treater over here with his pail. We'll put in some more details of his little jack-o'-lantern pail. Right now I'm adding some more detail of the shadows, making things a little bit more 3D. Don't forget the shadows on your ghost too. We got to make him look like a trick-or-treater that's wearing a sheet and not just a flat white spotty blob. There's some more shadows there on the house. You really want darks against lights. Darky darks against lightest lights to make those images pop. There's those shadows. Now the bright green and the bright pink and that bright orange that I'm adding, they also glow under a UV light, under a black light. There's our shadows for our little ghost trick-or-treater. Just some basic little light gray here and there to give movement to his body and his arm holding his pail. Now going back in once everything is dry, I'm just using a permanent marker, a black permanent marker, to outline the shapes and to give detail. Now I went back over after the permanent marker with a different oil-based marker that ended up working a lot better. But whatever works for you, doing these outlines makes the work pop. If you think about when you're reading a comic book or you're watching a cartoon, you have those black outlines to really give definition and shape. Since it is a flat, cartoony type painting image. We got our little trick-or-treaters there. Just getting in those little details. Don't forget the windows. And of course, being fearless. Even things are really scary. Remember to always be brave. And there's our final product. And under a black light. I hope you enjoy.